We have our best offer yet on poodlecfb.com right now until the launch of CFB 26. If you use code LAUNCH with a capital L, you will get $50 off the annual plan. And if you're into the monthly plan, if you use code LAUNCH 2025 capital L, you will get $5 off the monthly plan. Guys, these discounts are recurring. So the beauty of this is if you lock yourself in now, you'll have it for the remainder of CFB 25 and CFB 26 and beyond that. So make sure to sign up right now. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 25 video. And in today's video, I'm gonna be going over the 10 best changes in depth coming to CFB 26 very shortly. Now, before we get into the video, guys, I want to make two announcements. First and foremost, this is going to be my last CFB 25 video of the year. We made it strong. I appreciate all the support from all of you guys from last July till now. It was a crazy ride. My first time doing CFB as a YouTuber for a full year. Can't believe we've made it this far. Thank you guys for all the support. And secondly, and also very important, this is the biggest deal of the year and the last huge deal likely of the year for the foreseeable future. CFB comes out in less than 2 weeks. If you guys haven't already heard, we're running our craziest discount yet. Our community has skyrocketed in the last few weeks. Come take advantage of the discount. Code Dynasty with a capital D gets you $65 off the annual plan. And code Dynasty Capital 2025 gets you $7 off the monthly plan. These are recurring grandfathered in discounts, so lock yourself in now. You're going to regret it if you miss this deal when CFB 26 hype starts in about a week and a half and you have the game in your hands. So come join, come get into the action, join the fastest growing community, take advantage of all of our tools and some announcements. We will have the full bulk spreadsheet and our tools available likely day one on the site, which is pretty unheard of for a lot of sites that are trying to turn over like this real quickly. We're going to have a lot of our tools ready to go, and the guide should be up within the first 31 days of the game being dropped, and a few other things that we have over there. So make sure to check it out, guys. But let's get into it. So let's go through a few of my favorite things. Let's start with the recruiting area of the game. So one of my favorite new features is actually going to be the red dot on the recruit screen. I know we're on CFP 25, but I'm going to break it all down for you on how all this looks when you guys have seen the deep dives and kind of break it in depth. So see the screen right here? When you go through this screen, there's actually going to be a new quality of life feature. There's going to be a red dot where you see where that contract is on the right hand side of the player. There's going to be a red dot above that that actually signals that there's actions to be done. Now let me break this down for you. Do you guys remember when every week of advance, right, you'd have a list of like 30 players, or let's say there was like 20 players you were actively recruiting. You'd have a list of them, and every time your league advanced, you'd hop on remote play or you'd hop on the Xbox and you have to go one by one. Go in, check, up, top 8, or go in, check, can I place a visit on him yet? Go in, check, oh, can he get a hard sell yet? Have I hard sold him yet? Now, when you advance any players that are ready for new actions or something to be done, there's a red dot. Now, recruiting was pretty cut and dry in terms of like, you knew when it was. Like the first week, there was not, you'd apply actions. Week 2 or 3, visits would open up and hard sells and so on and so forth. But you had to basically check each and every one. And then sometimes, if like for me on remote play, I'd actually be like going through it pretty quickly. And like number 4 here, Mankins, I'd miss him. And then we'd advance and be like, how'd I fall behind? I never hard sold him. Or sometimes I'd go on, I'd apply an action, and then accidentally, like when I was setting the hard sell, I'd take it off like this. And then I would go to the hard sell, never actually click in, and then go to the next one. I've done that a lot too. So the red dot signifies that there's something to be done. So it's really cool. Like you could advance the league, and then let's say Stitzer, Mankins, and Tatum have a red dot. Chong, Warleblau, and Ishmael don't have any of that. That means that the guys who don't have it have no actions to be done, so you can basically ignore them. Like, okay, set it and forget it, they're good to go. The ones with the red dot, you can go check. Okay, time for visit, time for this. First, it makes it very quick in an online competitive league when you're trying to advance quickly. Like when they're advancing quickly and you know everyone's going to hop on remote play and try to steal your visits and take your week 3. This allows you to quickly come in and go visit, or hard sell. It makes it super easy. It's a quality of life improvement. I think that's really cool. Another one's actually the progress bar. The progress bar is a little bit more defined now. When you look at the progress bar, like see where the shaded area Michigan is or LSU, as you go through, a lot of these things are more defined to see the difference in gains as well as moving gains. You can see the bar moving now, which I think is super cool and going to play a bigger role in helping people. Like when we talk about strategy on this channel, I always go through like measuring the distance, how much have you grown? Some people ask me like how much it moved up, how do I justify this? Also, sometimes when people take their offers on and put it back on, their bar like hardens and goes fully solid and you can't see the gain for that week. So I think that's a very important quality of life change, and just making it a little bit more interactive on the screen. Definitely like that. Another one, as you guys have probably seen all over Twitter, all over everywhere, coaching packages are different. So they did move things around. They maneuvered a lot of stuff. So certain packages, certain things from last year aren't going to be the same. What I will say from what I saw over on Twitter is that CEO is meta. Like CEO is great. The hardest thing about CEO is going to be unlocking it. So this is why I can't stress enough, right? day one when you get the game, don't waste your coaching points right away. Don't like go in and just start spending as you earn them. I'm going to probably announce a few day one packages I think you need no matter what. Like we knew this year, like for this year, we'd go into Recruiter and we would buy those first 2 packages like right off rip. We knew we wanted them. That was fine. But it's going to be a little different. Recruiter's been changed up a little bit. Architect, I really like last year. Maybe it's not as great this year. All I'm going to say is don't go in. Like, this is something that's been seen in so many sports games. Like, every year you buy the new 2K or something, you go in, you make a certain build that you like, and the next year it's not meta, but last year it was meta. Same thing with football. You come in, you pick a running team because you want to run the ball, and then it's a passing meta. Or you pick a passing team, fast wide receivers, it's a running meta. So don't go in assuming it's the same exact thing. Day one will have a few like insta packages that I think you're going to need no matter what. But try to save your points. My strategy for the first season is really going to be with how coaching packages is moved around. Is to kind of like watch the scenarios of what's going on in your league, stockpile some points, and in the case that our meta build includes CEO, I'm going to save some extra points just for that. Especially keep in mind you get that 100 points if you pre-order. If your league turns it on, that 100 points basically is an extra 10 levels for free on top of the level 100 coach you get now. Which ties us into that same point here is you can get to level 100 now. That is a huge change. Now, I know the coaching packages did go up. They cost like, I believe it's 8 and 12 or something like that. Like 8 for regulars, 12 for hybrid packages, or elite advanced packages like Master Motivator, Elite Recruiter. I know it went up, but before it was 5. So if it went up to 8, it didn't go up double, but your levels went up double. So technically there is more room for a few things. And also what I'd like to add to that is that if you get that coaching bonus on for the pre-order, that's technically a level 110 coach because you start at level 0 with the extra points. So keep that in mind. I think that level 100, those extra 100 points could go a long way in just saving it for CEO in the long run of like having the extra 100. So keep that in mind, guys. Be very vigilant when going to coaching packages. Things have changed. Things have moved around. I didn't care for a talent developer strategist last year, but I seem to like it this year. So just be ready for that. Next, and really important, is going to be this quality of life changes they made. If you looked at the deep dive closely, so here under roster, right above up here, like LSU Tigers, below that, like everywhere, whenever you're looking at your roster on the recruiting screen or on the roster, there's always going to be some more visible cues. So actually when recruiting in this area specifically, when you're on the prospect list or you're on your recruiting board, there'll be above the recruiting board a roster need. So before you have to do this and come in like, okay, what do I need? I have a senior there. I'm missing a senior here. I have a bunch of freshmen here. Okay, I go back out. And then you're like, and I forgot. All right, let me go back in. You know what? I'm going to get a spreadsheet out or a piece of paper. I'm going to start writing it down. Sometimes I would get up, I'd take a photo, and I'd come back, and it was annoying. It wasn't like detrimental to my recruiting experience, but it was annoying. Now it's right there, front and center. You can see it while you're playing. It's awesome. So you're going through, and you're in like a frenzy. Like, okay, I'm a halfback, outside linebacker, middle linebacker. Then you look at the top, and you see you have a 5/4 halfback, so like over the amount you need. You have 3 middle linebackers already that are freshmen. You're like, actually, I'll come back later. What I really need is a left end and a right guard. It makes it a lot better to now actually see a lot of things. That's important to me. And this ties into the next thing on the right-hand side, right here, right above my head. Player cards. Player cards are new and improved. Finally, they did a few things. On the player card, you can actually see dev traits. You can see their deal breakers, their dev traits, their everything. They finally made it useful. Now, where is it going to apply mostly to me? Where do I care? First and foremost, on my roster right now. I'm trying to look at like my depth chart or my roster. Either way, and I'm here, I'm looking at these quarterbacks. Like, who's starting for me this year? Okay, let's see. I like these guys, but let me go make the changes in my depth chart. So this is where the nuisance would occur to me, is I'd sit right here and I'd go, okay, so I have Nussmeier, Collins, Swan. I do have these freshmen. Hurley, he's a 72. He's lower than Nussmeier, but let me go check what his depth chart is. I click Y. It says reorder. Oh, I got to go back to my roster. I got to go click on the player card. I got to sort to where the depth chart is. I got to go look at it. I got to look at the skill caps. Now, on depth chart, right here above my head on the right-hand side, right here, you can actually see their deal breaker and a bunch of their like essentials that you need, like their dev trait and their year, their classification, everything you see here plus that. So now I can quickly go, oh, Colin Hurley's elite dev, let's say, and my starting quarterback's only a impact dev, 85 overall quarterback, that's almost capped. I'm going to move Hurley into the starting lineup. I have some packages for lower rated quarterbacks. I want to get him in there. That's a huge change. Now, where does this also apply? Where do I really think it's great? The cut screen. When you get to the cut screen in the offseason, everyone can attest to this, how annoying it was to get to the cut screen, and you'd be looking at like 17 cornerbacks you had, and you're like, all right, who's getting cut? All right, I have 5 73 overall guys, and I have a bunch of 84s. Now there you'd be like, oh, get rid of the 72s. No, some of those 72s were elite dev freshmen that I brought in, or some of the 77s were elite dev sophomores that were like on the come up, and the 84 guy was actually a normal dev capped out senior. so you couldn't see it there. But then sometimes it was an 84 junior, but they were actually star dev. They just haven't progressed well yet, but you know they're going to get that big senior bump. So there was a lot of things you'd have to like take a picture, go back to roster, go to playing card, go back, wait, which guy was which, go back. It took a lot of time. And remember, if you were like 10, 15 players over, this process, this could take a while. So I think this is super important. You could also see their star classification. You know why that's huge? Because if you're trying to get your blue chip up, your blue chip, whatever it is, blue chip ratio up to get your program prestige up, which it means having more 4 and 5 stars relative to the 3, 2, and 1s on your roster and the roster size. You can now see like, okay, that guy's normal, that guy's impact dev, he's solid. That guy's impact dev 2, he's solid, but the impact dev guy was actually a 4-star. The other one's a 3-star. I'm going to cut the 3-star to get my blue chip ratio up and get my program prestige up. That's another way that this is going to play a huge role in progressing the game. Now, guys, this next one, kind of crazy, could be cheesy. I'm not sure how I feel about it just yet. I think it's really good. It's definitely one of the biggest changes, and that's going to be manual progression. So there's a few ways to look at this. When you click on a player, you see where their skill points would be, right? In the top right corner. I can't do the whole inverted camera thing, I'm sorry. Top right, all the way up there, the 0 next to the golden S, that is skill points. So in CFP 25, when you would get a player, let's say right here, this is 12, 7, 6, 6, 2, 2. They tend to prioritize the cheapest thing. So every few games, Will Campbell would accrue 2 skill points. He'd auto spend it on quickness or footwork. And he'd keep doing that until these packages basically were more expensive or the same as these packages. So probably the next one would be 6. Once it reached 6, then it would be kind of like a dice roll on which one gets upgraded. And then once one of these went up to 7, then they come back to the 6 or vice versa. And that meant that you basically never got this power up until the very end, which means that a lot of times where this impacted you was a few things. First, you wouldn't upgrade the stuff you wanted. Now let's look at it from a wide receiver perspective or a quarterback perspective. Quarterback specifically is where it kind of bothered me, especially this was the downfall of scramblers last year. So let's say scramblers, their accuracy would look like this. They'd get to like this 87 mark where it was like 87, 88, 88. You wanted them to get into the 90s, or like 82 deep accuracy would be pretty bad. But this package right here, and you know what, actually for the sake of argument, let's look at a scrambling quarterback so you could actually see exactly how this impacted them. A guy like Ricky Collins, or you'd have this like good scrambling quarterback, their throw power would already be at 8, and their accuracy would be at 9. So they're going to upgrade elusiveness, IQ, and elusiveness and IQ really, and then if quickness was lower, they'd go for that. But elusiveness, IQ, or health really. Health, IQ, and elusiveness. They keep upgrading that. So what happens to a scrambler a lot of times is you'd recruit them. They'd start with like good short, good medium, like 85, 85, and their deep throw accuracy would be like a 72 to 77. And when you throw the deep ball, you get those red accuracy throws, and they'd be underthrown, and a safety would undercut it all the time. And you're like, okay, fine, it's fine. When he's a sophomore or junior, I'm going to get the upgrade. He's going to be great. Unfortunately, that was never the case because they would never upgrade their accuracy again. And if they finally got to 9, they did it. Then it would get high again, and the deep accuracy was still in the 70s. You need like 3, 4 upgrades. So the beauty of now in CFP 26, there's manual upgrades. Why is this so huge? First, I can just say instead of wasting what's going to end up being like 20 points on IQ and elusiveness, which I don't want on this quarterback, especially when I'm using him, I can just save those points and instantly put it all into accuracy. And why is this important? Is that you can also buy abilities in this game. So what do I love from a cheese perspective was this. So Caleb Durham, my favorite running back in the game. In CFP 26, he's a higher overall. My problem with Caden Durham in this game was this. He had good change of direction, great speed, but he upgraded everything else first. A lot of running backs would upgrade their receiving first. So he was eligible for Platinum Shifty like day 1 almost after his first few upgrades, but I wasn't able to get it till his senior year, from freshman all the way to senior year, because he wouldn't upgrade his elusiveness one more time, and then he also wouldn't buy the package. So if you were to play like a season with him and have a really good season and get like 30, 40 skill points, you could instantly go buy 1 more elusiveness, get him up to 97 change of direction. Then you can come over here and instantly upgrade his shifty all the way from, I believe it starts at bronze with active roster now, and upgrade it all the way to platinum in one shot. Guess what? After his freshman season, you're a 97 change of direction shifty back, you're OP, you're meta, and that goes all the way. There's also some strategy here about like not upgrading players and holding them from the draft. I'm going to make videos on all this stuff as I get more ideas and kind of game test that all. But this is going to be so cheese because, as you guys know, let's say for every 100 skill points you earned with a player, we all know what would happen. You'd get 100 skill points for a player like Durham. 85% of it would go into nonsense. That's what we're going to call it, nonsense. It would go into IQ, health, and receiving. Didn't impact him on the field. Yes, his rating skyrocketed, but when you were physically playing in the national championship with him, you didn't feel the shiftiness, you didn't feel the speed, you didn't have the OP abilities. Now you're going to be able to go that route. Where does this become a problem? Well, there's going to be some cheeseheads in your league or people who watch my videos and know exactly what to upgrade, when to upgrade it, and how to cheese it, and they're going to have like beasts. So you're going to be, there could be a 97 team, overall team who has all auto built guys, and they're going to be a higher overall, but there's going to be a 93 overall team who went straight speed, athleticism, throw power, speed on the quarterback, and crazy abilities, and their team's going to play out of this world. So you're going to have to really catch up. This is going towards like the Madden direction of you got to know what you're doing and can't depend on the randomness of the game. And that's going to be a pretty big deal. There is some penalties in the settings that you can go and adjust that. So definitely play with that and see what your league does. I'll make some videos over that when CFP26 does come out. But let's move it on, guys. Tons of new commissioner settings. As you guys did see, this is going to be huge. There's league settings, commissioner settings, whatever you want to call them. As you saw in the deep dive, there are tons of new commissioner settings. First and foremost, wear and tear. You can fully revamp it. So this year was off or on, which sucked because all felt kind of dumb because players never got tired, and that was a big portion of how this game played. But on also felt kind of dumb because your player would die after 3 hits sometimes, or they would just go out for a game or be dead after a sim. Now there's going to be a whole wear and tear screen, as we saw, and you're going to be able to go through it one by one and adjust things. So what I like is that I hated this year when someone would A tackle me, or on PS5, I think it's X maybe, whatever, the bottom button, the bottom of the 4 buttons. You'd hit that and you get like a shoestring tackle. You'd literally at an outside stretch just grab my ankles and I'd fall to the ground. Lightest tackle in the world. My running back would have a red chest and you'd go out for the entirety of the game. Then a running back would be catching like a Texas route over the middle, and I would use her hit stick and with my 95 hit power middle linebacker and knock him back into another state, and he'd get right up and still be green. I didn't like that. So this year there are wear and tear settings to actually adjust so that regular contact tackles only do like, it's at 50 right now. You can bring that down to like 10. Contact tackles aren't going to really hurt anyone. But you can adjust so hit stick tackles and impact tackles actually do like 60, 70%, or just leave it at 50. So that way there's a differentiation between, for every 20 contact hits you get, like regular contact, low contact, you're not really going to do damage and you're lucky if you do. But for every hit stick you get, you got to be scared. Might play some strategy there to run out of bounds. I think that is really cool as well. And there's plenty of other settings. There's force win settings. There's more things you could do here. I'm very appreciative of that, especially as a commissioner. And for a lot of leagues I've been in, I know how important it is to have more control over your experience. There's transfer portal settings to completely control the transfer portal. Very cool. Overall, as a whole, just to like give you like one big pointer, there's a lot more visible cues now. Like when you're playing the game, like the red dot on the recruit, the player screen, the player card. Across this entire game and all the menus, there's more visible cues to like tell you what exactly happened, or to like tell you how your percentage of sway working. There's more visible cues. They made it a lot easier to understand as a game. Last year we did a lot of guessing work and trying to figure it out on our own and creating our own math and formulas. Now there's a lot of guessing work on, which is really good for a lot of people, especially people who don't watch YouTube, or people who just load the game up casually on a Thursday after work for an hour and they don't have time to really figure it all out. And they were just like, that's doing something, right? That's definitely important to me. Another huge one that I'm really excited for is going to be the playing time deal breaker. Last year, as you guys know, when we first started making videos last year, and a lot of you probably were as confused as I was, we all thought playing time was quite literally, okay, we have 4 quarterbacks. Colin Hurley, let's say he's a stud freshman. In this game, he's not. Let's say he's a stud freshman, and he had a playing time deal breaker. Essentially, while Newsmeyer is the starter, Colin Hurley would be threatening to transfer out because I'm not letting him play in any games, right? That's not how it worked. It was more about QBs on the depth chart. If I had like 6, 7 QBs ahead of him, yes, he would have his deal breaker being impacted, but otherwise he wouldn't. It was very annoying. I actually want there to be storylines like, I have an 85 overall junior quarterback, which is kind of low for a field general, right? He's higher now in the next year's game. It's kind of low, and I'd be like, okay, while this 85 overall is better, his ceiling's basically capped as a junior going to senior year, or close to it maybe if his caps are bad. I should get the 78 overall. Let's say it was a 78 overall freshman. I should get him on the field because otherwise he's going to transfer and his ceiling's like a 95 overall. Well, this guy's like an 87, 88. And I want those storylines. That's real life. It's literally real life where you have like a pretty solid junior senior quarterback, but you have an elite 5-star top 10 prospect in the country coming in as a freshman and he wants playing time. I love that. I think that's going to be really important. Same thing with pro potential deal breakers and stuff like that. I think that's really cool too. Think of a guy who starts at a 1 to 2-star school, maybe 3-star school, didn't get contracted or offered much stuff coming out of high school or get scouted really, and then he blows up in his freshman or sophomore year, and now he's being recruited by Bama, Georgia, LSU, Texas, right? And now he wants to leave because now he thinks he can go to the NFL and he wants to get out. So they made it so pro potential was the same way. It's not like, oh, your school's pretty good, your pro potential's high. There's dynamic deal breakers that actually the pro potential could go up. If the guy goes from a 75 overall to an 88 overall in his first 2 seasons, he can see that he's about to go pro, and his deal breaker may go from a C+ to a B+ or to an A+, and suddenly he's only interested in the Bama, the LSUs of the world, Georgia, and so on and so forth. Now he wants to leave Marshall, right? Or like Syracuse. I think that's really cool. I know it sucks for small schools, but that's the reality. Get bigger, grow your program, or lose elite players. That's realistic. That's real football. That's what people wanted. I'm pretty cool with it for the most part. Next, we have training results feedback. Wow, I cannot tell you how I thought the offseason was super lackluster last year. I thought the offseason could have been done so much better. I thought, like, in Madden, when I got to the offseason, I was like, oh my God, I'm redoing my team for agency, the draft. This one, you do a lot of, like, the offseason stuff in season, it feels like, with recruiting. By the time you get there, it's transfer portal. Transfer portal was bad. And then training results were kind of lackluster because, yeah, this is what training results look like. You'd open it, and it would just look like this. And you'd be like, okay, what happened? You'd be like, oh, Campbell went up, right? He was a 93 before. And then you look at a picture on your phone from last offseason, you're like, wait, no, he was 96. Okay, he didn't go up. Oh, my quarterback went up. No, that was the tactician boost. He was actually lower than that. Okay. Oh, this happened. And then you get into a game, you'd be like, oh, who's this? And you'll notice some bum, like, three-star guy you had that you forgot about suddenly blew up to like an 85 overall, and you didn't even realize, you didn't even know he was on your roster. I hated that. Now, training results screen is much better. When you get into the training results screen, assuming you have auto progression on, you actually see all the green arrows over everything. So you'll see Will Campbell will say, like, let's just say 92 to 96, and you'll see arrows over all the players. They went over through this in the deep dive. If you haven't already seen it, though, very, very cool. And you're going to see everything that went up through every stat. I think that is so awesome because you can quite literally compare. I think now for leagues, we used to give it, like in my league, like 10 to 15 minutes for results because you couldn't really see anything. You figure it out later. Either way, you're guessing. Now, it's awesome because you may want to actually sit there for an hour and just compare exactly how your roster moved and start planning out your starters for next year. I think that's super, super cool. And the last few things is going to be the transfer portal and seeing abilities before you change positions. This is, again, going to the offseason transfer portal now. Really cool. It's supposed to be entirely revamped. There's going to be bigger names, more inconsistency, which I love. Last year was so consistent. It would be like no 5 stars, bunch of 4 stars, all middle tier 80 overalls. Not that great. Now they made it a few different ways. First and foremost, you're going to see the Arch Mannings and guys like that at the top of the board. You're going to see dynamic deal breakers tearing apart smaller teams. You're going to see players suddenly being like, I want to be close. I want to be a pro, and I don't want to be on that team anymore. You're going to see more guys being divas. I think that's very important because that's kind of realistic. And also, there's more settings to adjust if you don't want all that stuff. And of course, I love how they changed the star ratings because it was true. I didn't like how a 78 overall freshman with elite dev could be a 3-star and a 82 overall senior who's capped out could be a 4-star. Because in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll take the 4-star. And then people are stealing these freshmen, but you can't tell that they're that good because you can't really see. Now, that's going to be based on like what they are, right? So like a 78 overall freshman might be a 4-star, while an 82 overall senior might be a 3-star or a 4-star. But either way, they're going to make it so it's more obvious to you that, like, wait, that guy's a freshman and he's a 4-star. Yeah, he's really good versus that guy's a 3-star, 4-star. He's a senior. He's a capped out player. I think that's super cool. And then, of course, position changing week, able to see your abilities before you change positions. First off, I think they killed the reroll. I think that's what they're doing here with how they said abilities don't just transfer over or roll again. They tried to kill the reroll. That's fine. It was pretty cheesy anyways. But they did make it so that when you go through changing positions, let's say I'm going to change my running back to an end, you'll see all his abilities just disappear. And you see it before you do it, so you don't have to mess them up. You could see, like, okay, if I bring him here, like when you're on that screen where you see positions, if you bring him down, you'll see, like, ability change. And honestly, only the positions where they transfer nicely to when you'd see it. So, like, cornerback to safety, you'd see, like, wrap up or jammer or whatever, stay with him. You'll see it. And maybe even something else appear because it's like a quasi correlating position. But if it was a position where it went like cornerback to quarterback, you'd see all abilities disappear, really low overall. That's kind of good for the game. I think it's a little bit more realistic and kind of takes away some of the guessing work for a commissioner having to like figure out what they're doing. But guys, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit longer than usual, but I feel like I wanted to do it in depth and kind of slow myself down a little bit to really break it down. But if you haven't already, guys, don't miss out on the craziest deal of the year. It's going to be gone pretty soon once this new game drops. Code Dynasty. Capital D gets you $65 off the annual plan. So many people have been taking advantage of it. Lock yourself in. Come join the fastest growing CFB community. Code Dynasty, capital D 2025 gets you $7 off the monthly plan. Lock it in, guys. This will be my last CFB 25 video of the year, so lock yourself in. You won't want to miss this deal, guys. You're grandfathered in for the rest of the lifetime of your membership, so it's a special deal, and you'll have a special rate for as long as you stay with us, and then you won't want to get into CFB 26 and be like, I should have joined, and now the special's gone. So come take advantage. Thank you guys for watching. Can we get our subs up? I'd love to hit 100K this year. I know we're only at like 38, 39, maybe 37. I forget where we're at. I'd love to hit 100K this year. Can we start now? Can we start the momentum going? Let's get to the next set and keep it moving, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.